And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Supremes.
Hey everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode in the series in which we celebrate the phenomenal Diana Ross. And I'm back in Paris. Last week I made a little exception and wanted to speak about Zizi Jeanmaire, who there was a tribute to her by Lady Gaga, and I thought it was really, really wonderful, and I wanted to share that with you. And the Olympics are finishing tomorrow, we're Saturday, and it's been absolutely a joy to be in Paris for the Olympic Games. People are kind and happy no matter where you go. People give you water and a fan. There are fan zones and people just cheering for their countries. And it's just wonderful, wonderful to be in Paris at this time. And we really didn't think that this would be the case. So today, I wanted to talk about Diana Ross and her extraordinary connection with the man behind Diana Ross, Mr. Berry Gordy. And through a series of interviews, I wanted to show you and showcase the absolute love and adoration that Berry Gordy has for Miss Diana Ross. And the way he speaks about her and the way he explains his relationship with her is just absolutely touching, because you really hear a man who, even though he was so close to her, they have a child together. Diana Ross called her husband in an award show once. He talks about her like a fan. He really, sometimes when I listen to him, it sounds exactly like the way I speak about Diana Ross. You know, it's just, Diana Ross is something else. It's not real. The real Diana Ross is the woman that he knows, and then the one on stage is something else. So let's just listen to this earlier interview of Berry Gordy, where he explains the way he worked with her, the way Diana Ross lights up, as he says, when the cameras and when the lights go on, and also his idea of her portraying Billie Holiday in Lady Sings the Blues, and how important that was to him, and the fact that once he said you can do it, Diana Ross said I can do it.
Diana Ross.
Diana Ross she's classy. Diana Ross when the lights come on, Diana Ross comes on. I mean, I don't care what the rehearsals were. We would rehearse a number and she would just be fair, rehearsals, so forth and so on. Or doing a movie, Lady Sings the Blues, I mean, we rehearse and I would, say, put it into rehearsal, and she would say, I'm doing it, I'm trying it. But boy, when those lights came on, Diana Ross came to life. I mean, she's a money actress. For the money, she can do it, whatever it is.
You loved her.
I loved her, yes, and still do. But
do you still love her the way you did? I mean, she's
no.
the mother of your child.
That's right.
Was she the love of your life? Diana.
I would say so, and looking back, yes, because she gave me more thrills than anyone.
What do you mean by thrills?
Well, thrills on the stage. I mean, when a person can do, her thing was, if you can think it, I can do it. And anything I could think of.
If you can think it, I can do it.
Yes, and when I wanted her to do Lady Sings the Blues, play the life of Billie Holiday, she had never acted before. She had never done anything, but it was a thought I had, and I felt that she could do it. And she believed it. If I thought it, she could do it. And she did. And she was nominated for Academy Award. And the movie was nominated for 5.
Why didn't you two stay together?
Well,
Diana Ross, why didn't you stay together?
Well, Diana, I asked myself that same question when she got married. I said, well, wait a minute. The reason we did not stay together was because I knew what she wanted, and she wanted stardom in the worst way, and I wanted it for her. We had a goal. We had told each other that we would never let our relationship get involved with her career and my vision and my plan, and we were focused on that. But the relationship started getting in the way. it is very hard to, during the daytime, be this director and this person directing this talent and not letting them get away with anything. And every time I would maybe question her, she may think it's an attack or something, but really I'm trying to, you know, my standards were high. So it's one thing to direct a person and do a lot of things like that during the day, during the day, and then at night, try to be a cuddly bear.
Hard to keep them separate, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you know, and so...
so you come into the bedroom and she say, "You're no cuddly bear," because I remember 5 hours ago.
Yeah, yeah. And even if she didn't say that, even though she appreciated it, see, Diana was very interesting, and even though we would fight over certain things that I might say in terms of directorial remarks toward her or that it wasn't good enough, whenever she did a show, it did not matter who or anybody, what anyone said. It was like, "What do you think, Black?" You know? And if everyone says, "You're great, you're terrific, you're fantastic," if she wasn't really fantastic, I would have to say, "Okay, you were very good, but right here, you could do better." You know, and that wasn't always a good political thing to say, you know, to a top star that everyone says has done a wonderful job.
Everybody says you're the best, and you're saying you can be better.
Yeah.
It's very, very impressive the way he admires her, the love that he has for her, and the fact that he realized at a very, very early moment that not only was she extremely talented, but that Diana Ross wanted superstardom more than anything, and he wanted more than anything to make her a superstar, and that is the whole thing that, you know, we always talk about. Oh, well, Diana Ross was, you know, picked out of the Supremes. No way. You know, Diana Ross is, you know, the jewel, and, you know, the Supremes were the Supremes. They wore the same gowns, they had the same kind of hairstyles. They were not the same level of talent. Diana Ross became, you know, Diana Ross. People, some people have never heard of the names of, you know, Florence Ballard or Mary Wilson or Cindy Birdsong, and, you know, Diana Ross 50 years later is still, you know, here, and sometimes even bigger than ever. So it's wonderful to hear it from the man who created these four incredible young women who became the Supremes, and Diana Ross and the Supremes. Now I wanted to show you the Motown 25th. This is Diana Ross' speech, and there's a very, very touching moment which Berry Gordy explained, where Diana Ross gives him a sign and he is going to give her the same sign, but then he lets her go and he says, "Come on, you're free now."
Thank you. Thank you very much. How are you? Are you good? Okay. Well, if I started talking about my life with Motown, I think I'd take a real long time. But Motown is forever. And there's a strange thing, but Berry has always felt that he's never been really appreciated. It's a strange thing. I feel a little emotional, but it's not about the people who leave Motown that's important, but it's about the people who come back. And tonight, everybody came back. Oh, sing, sing, say, someday we'll be together.
Just absolutely heartbreaking and very, very touching. And I always look at this video with a lot of pain, because Diana Ross was very, very weak. She was sick. She was extremely tired. She had laryngitis. She had lost a lot of weight. You can see the gown she's wearing is creased, the skirt, because it's just so big on her. And a lot of that was part of the stress that of coming back to Motown, because it was not easy. For her, she was meeting with the Supremes again. Mary Wilson was very, very difficult. And Berry Gordy was not happy because she had left, and she was all by herself. She was on that tight rope, and was she going to make it or not? And, Diana Ross in the late 60s, early 70s, when she did her very first solo act, she would welcome the audience by saying, "Welcome to the Let's See If Diana Ross Can Do It By Herself show." And that's the way she was perceived. And she understood that people went to see her saying, what is she going to sound like without the Supremes behind her? So this was all coming back, because no matter how big of a star you are, the pain is always there. Now there's a little bit of Barbara Walters interviewing Berry Gordy, and she's asking him some very, very difficult questions, as Barbara Walters always does. She's not the highly sensitive person. She may be sensitive, but she goes in, and she really asks very, very tough questions. I met Barbara Walters 4 or 5 times. She used to come to Paris very often, and she used to dress at the company where I worked, Thierry Mugler, and she was sweet and kind, very, very elegant, very warm. And there were a lot of Americans who came to that store, who recognized her, and she was always very, very kind to them. And she always took time to speak, to sign autographs. This was a time when we didn't have phones. That's how old I am. But she was a very, very kind person, extremely kind. And you have to know that in France, no one knew who she was. Absolutely nobody. Even if you gave her name, nobody knew except me. So she was, a complete anonymous. But when Americans recognized her, then of course, they came and spoke to her. So here she is interviewing Berry Gordy on 2 very difficult questions.
And that and so forth. But I'm working with her, and she's magic and she's mine, and she's Diana Ross. And I loved her, but I wasn't selfish enough to want to marry her and take her out of what I knew she had to have. She had to have that stardom up there.
Not that Gordy was against marriage. He actually married 3 times and fathered 8 children. 4 were born out of wedlock, including 1 with Diana Ross.
Mr. Gordy, you had a baby with Diana Ross, a little girl named Rhonda, who's now grown. Mm-hmm. You didn't tell Rhonda that she was your child until she was 13. Why?
We felt that it would be better for her sake that she did not know until that time.
Did you know at the time that Diana Ross was pregnant with your baby?
No, I didn't. We had broken up. And after that, we were together one night. She then married another man. And when she had the child, we had no idea that it was mine. And then as the child was growing up, I'm looking and, I'm saying, wait a minute,
She looks like me.
Yeah, and so then Diana and I discussed it, and we realized that it was indeed my child. I was very close to the family, and Rhonda has called me Uncle BB all her life. We've had just a wonderful relationship since she's found out, and I love her very much.
Diana Ross finally left you in Motown.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Very painful?
Yes, very painful.
Have you forgiven her?
Yes.
Very, very hard to to hear, very difficult. His relationship with Rhonda Ross, the fact that they had not told her about that he was her father, and the forgiving of Diana Ross for leaving Motown. And I always think Diana Ross, it was a very, very difficult choice. I think she was right. That I don't think she should have gone to RCA, but I think she was right. I think she should have gone to Casablanca. But that's just the way things go. Here's a very last interview of Berry Gordy, where he talks about the Motown the musical, and here again he's going to talk about his very, very special relationship to Diana Ross and what Diana Ross means to him.
It's all about people. Right. Smokey was talented, Stevie was talented, Martha Vandellis was talented.
Diana was talented.
Diana was more than talented.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
We know what you mean.
No, this is interesting because Diana plays a big role in the musical and a big role in your life. So much so, I was very surprised, Berry, that you wrote this, that you included on the play that the first time you were with Diana, that things did not go according to plan. You even said that you could not perform. I don't know any man who would share that. Why did you decide you wanted to put that in?
Well, I'm a normal person, and I've always wrote about normal people and myself. Yes. And I think that when you think of somebody as a goddess or somebody as the greatest thing, and you're getting ready to have sex with them, something can happen always in your mind.
Yes.
So, and that's what happened. At the last minute, I said, "What if?" And then it was embarrassing from then on out.
But it's not embarrassing now. You and Diana have had a child together. Why did you two ultimately break up? I've always been curious about that.
Well, you have to come see the play.
Oh, really?
It's a play.
Okay.
No, it's there. It was a multitude of things. Things that happen in life.
Mm-hmm.
But love overcomes all.
Yes.
And real love overcomes all. And Diana, I must say, was the key to so much that happened at Motown, because she was my inspiration.
Yep.
And without her, I don't know that I could have done all the things that I did.
So you see how this is the why Berry Gordy is the perfect man for Diana Ross. All of these incredible divas, whether it be Barbara, Diana, Liza, Cher, they're my 4 stars. You know that I have 4: Barbara, Diana, Liza, and Cher, Lena, and Eartha. Lena Horne and Eartha Kitt for the younger crowd who don't know who they are. Those are the women that and Patti LaBelle, Patti, and Donna Summer. But Patti LaBelle and Donna Summer, it's a little bit different. I talk about the stars that I talk about. They're the ones that touched me when I was, a little child, and you just never forget. It's like a puppy. When they set their eyes on someone, it's just forever. And that's why, of course, there are tons of artists that I absolutely adore. I love the Pointer Sisters and Judy Garland and some French stars and all, but. Diana Ross, there was something that just, happened that, and like I always say, she looked at me, I looked at her, but she looked at me back. And to all of these stars, they have one thing in common, which is the love, absolute love from gay men. But these gay men, they love something very specific about them, which is a bit of the surface. And Berry Gordy is a man. And when he says, and it's very, very, very brave of him to say, well, the first time I could not perform, you understand that afterwards that wasn't the case. But this is a man who loves the woman Diana Ross. Now, he also loves the star the way that we may, but he makes her a complete woman. And this is so important for women like these stars, because a lot of them get completely lost in this admiration and adulation and being idolized by men who love you but don't touch you, in the biblical sense. So this is absolutely wonderful. And you can tell that there's a mixture, because when he says all of the very great talents that came to Motown, and then someone says, and Diana, he says, well, Diana, something else, because it's just, it's beyond anything you could imagine. You can see when somebody else loves them. So, when we see Berry Gordy and when we hear him, that it's only love that he has for Miss Diana Ross. I'll see you next week with another special connection with Miss Diana Ross. See you next week. Bye-bye.